Good evening. This is William K. Murtaugh, Mart Witness 1, and I am on briefly to discuss the Delphi uh, case, the developments today in the press conference, and also some other developments that have come about uh, today. Now, as everyone probably knows by now, there was an arrest in the murder of the two teenagers. And this individual, Richard Howard Bell, was charged with 2 counts of murder. And when he was arrested on Friday, they said they would be having a press conference on Monday, which was today, to get into exactly what was going on here. They would name the defendant and get into other information. So at 10 o'clock in the morning, we had this press conference. And the press conference turned out to be minimal at best. And it basically blew up the internet. People are mad because there wasn't enough information provided. But I believe that the law enforcement was wise in restricting the information. Now, what did come out is that uh, there's going to be a trial, set for January 13th. Hi, Rebecca, welcome. And then the trial itself is slated for March 20th, 2023. Now, these dates are due to the fact that this is more than likely a requirement under the 90-day rule, and it's a speedy trial requirement. Now, this could be waived by the defense, which would uh, allow for a continuance for a later date. And this may happen because this is going to be an extremely complicated case. But as of right now, we're looking at March 20th, 2023 for things to begin. And the probable cause affidavit and charging documents have been temporarily sealed as the investigation is far from complete. Uh, there's supposed to be a hearing sometime in the future to determine what, if any, information will be divulged to the public and when. And so, one thing I want to do right now as I get started early here, let me take our friendly neighborhood dude out. And I need is somebody in chat to tell me whether or not I have a flicker. I'm getting a flicker in my monitor, but I talked to the service provider and they said that I should not be getting the flicker on the broadcast. So I need to know my picture quality if people wouldn't mind doing that. Because otherwise I'll just go ahead and let the thing go on. Because it's, this started the last time I was on, I was getting flickering when I had the music on, and then now all of a sudden when I'm doing the broadcast. So, all right, well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take me out. Well, I did that wrong. I'll stop camera, and I'll just sit here with my little dot, and I'll put up another image. Now, had another development today. Tim Holmseth has jumped into this case with both feet. And he started, let me roll this back to the 30th of October. Now, they put up a thing that said that the FBI was not scheduled to be in the press conference, and this turned out to be correct. The um, FBI did not show up. Doesn't matter, it was a relatively short press conference. But then, on October 31st, today, Tim Homseth put up Delphi murder update snuff film evidence submitted to the Indiana State Police. And evidence regarding possible snuff film created of the Delphi double murder was submitted to Douglas G. Carter, Superintendent, Indiana State Police today. Really? The evidence and information were submitted by Timothy Charles Homseth. Now, where did this snuff film come from? That's supposed to be of the double murder. And we go down through all the information, and it says that Alexandra Goddard talks about a snuff film being created of the Delphi murders. Now, this was a speculation on Alex's part. I listened to the live stream, and she basically was wondering if there was a snuff film. She never said that there was actually a snuff film. But this is part of what he wrote. Superintendent Carter, the task force investigating the murders of Abigail Williams and Liberty German announced today they are seeking tips and information. Please accept this as a tip for your investigators. I previously reported and delivered via FedEx to the Cleveland FBI as well as the Jacksonville, Florida FBI, Belmont County Courts, Ohio, and so on and so on and so forth. Information including a USB drive that contained a photo of a small vagina, face not shown, no public hair, strange bruising, possibly a corpse, possibly a child laying in the dirt. It was texted unsolicited to a former judge from Minnesota, Randy Lynn Erickson. And it went on and on and on about discussing the so-called snuff film on Tracy Griffith's show. Now, Rebecca, this is the situation. We have had an arrest today of a suspect in the murder of these two children. Along comes Timothy Charles Homseth and submits all this information that he's been sending all over the United States to the Illinois State Police. Now, there hasn't even been a pretrial hearing yet. I don't know if the defendant has retained counsel yet, but this is just getting started. The ISP is still investigating this case. Excuse me. Now, in the other cases that Tim Homseth has submitted this bullshit to, they have been in a situation where uh, the cases are either on hold or are not as fresh as this is. Nobody in the other cases, with the exception of Ohio, has been arrested. But now we have these two teenagers case opening wide open because on Friday a suspect was arrested in the case and has been charged with 2 counts of murder. And we have the preliminary hearing coming up. Now, Tim Holmseth submits this garbage to the Illinois State Police. The Illinois State Police is still investigating this case. They cannot disregard this information. They can't throw it out. They can't ignore it. They have to investigate it because there's a remote possibility that this is genuine, that this guy may have supplied permanent information in an ongoing investigation into this murder. And so he finishes out that he's a war correspondent, news reporter, investigative journalist, author, publisher, FBI witness. And enclosed USB with video, porn image of little female, FBI letters, Erickson Goddard text exchange. So this is now evidence in a murder case. This is what is known as discovery. Now, when the time comes, this information is required to be given to the defendants, be it a public defender, be it a professional attorney. It's called reciprocal discovery. The prosecution has to give evidence to the defense, and defense, if they come across any, has to give evidence to the prosecution. So the defense gets a hold of this material, and depending on the attorney, how good he is, he's going to see this and he's going to say, oh boy, talk about a Christmas present. Thank you, Jesus, for Tim Holmseth. Because now he can go down, or she can go down through every line in that presentation. Everything that Tim Holmseth has said in this material that he claims to have submitted to the prosecution. And can you imagine the opening argument of this attorney when the trial starts? Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, my client was arrested and charged with the murder of these 2 girls. And yet we have this evidence that someone else, some retired firefighter from Florida, or a retired truck driver from Florida, might actually be the killer of these 2 children. Look at the comments that were made, the comparisons between the voices, the pictures of the people side by side. What the hell is this? Since when did I have a mod team? Oh, we have a patrol. We have people playing games that do not give a damn about these 2 teenagers. So they come in here and say that there's no fucking vulgarity and no promotion of Holmseth and Erickson's perversions and no farting. This is funny to people. 2 girls have been murdered in Illinois. A guy's been arrested for the murder of these two girls, and we got some idiot coming in here making a joke out of it. I don't know who this clown is, but they're going. You know, I know you hate children. Well, great. But it's disappointing that people like that are out there. Best I could do is block this idiot for 5 minutes. Um, but Tim Holmsat doesn't care about these two teenagers. All he cares about is he gets attention. That he wants to be the big man in town. Well, he may get a thank you card from the defense attorney because his evidence could plant reasonable doubt in the minds of the jury. Now, who's not going to be thanking Timothy Charles Holmsat is going to be the parents of these murdered children. They are not going to be happy to find out that this stranger from nowhere, this unemployed pizza delivery driver, ah, Jesus, it's going to be one of these nights. I don't know why these people bother to show up. We got more child haters in here, and for whatever reason, I can't do anything. Pathetic. So, right wing Patriot Brigade. I guess you're happy that two teenagers were murdered in Delphi, Indiana, and that because of one of your right wing patriots, the murderer may get off, may be acquitted. Sounds interesting. But that's where we're at today. These are they possibly are right wing. Uh, the problem we have with this case right now is it's sealed. Law enforcement is not going to give out any clues. Well, because I get trolled a lot, and I don't know who you are. I've never seen the name in here. Um, but we don't know if the Kleins are involved or not. But this brings us to the sequence of events that brought us here. Now, a while back, the Kleins, Keegan Klein, the son, was released from one prison and remanded to state prison. Now, this is very unusual and it was a very risky move because the custody of Mr. Klein was being transferred. He could have escaped. Any number of things could have happened, and it would have fallen on the uh, agency because of what's happened. So, Keegan Klein gets transferred, gets interrogated. Shortly after the interrogation, there is a search under a bridge. Whether or not anything was found, nobody said anything. There was not a word from law enforcement. They didn't say we came up empty. They didn't say we found anything. They didn't say a damn thing. And then, in a very short period of time, we get an arrest. Friday morning, we get an arrest. We get a charge. Announcement that Monday there's going to be an announcement of who this guy is. And within 2 or 3 hours, it was all over the internet who the guy was. I mean, I don't know how they thought that they thought that this was going to be a big secret until Monday. in this relatively short count. The Anthony Shots account uh, is credited to Keegan. Now, it was reported, excuse me, that there were multiple users to that account. Now, there's always the remote possibility that the current suspect under arrest may have had access to that account. We don't know. But here is something to take away from this. We have two young athletic teenagers. They play sports. I think they are into soccer and stuff like that. So these are physically fit young ladies. And there's two of them. And this guy says, all right, come down the hill. They come to the bottom of the hill and he makes a move, grabs one of them or something. There's no screaming. There's no yelling. The other girl doesn't want run away. Why? Possibility there was more than one person. Because how do you keep two teenagers under control if you're just one man? Now, at the time of the murders, this guy was 40 years old. He's not exactly a spring chicken. Yeah, he's athletic. He goes out hunting and hiking and all this other stuff. But can he control two scared, athletic, high strung teenagers who could use their fingernails to scratch them, who could grab a nearby rock or nearby log and whack the guy? Any number of scenarios to try and get away. Something kept these two teenagers from getting away. Was it two people? That's a possibility, and that may be why this case is being sealed, because they want to find out what happened. Well, anything's possible, Rebecca, but we don't know. And speculating is about all we can do. And task force, why don't you go defend the guy that murdered the teenagers? Because that's what your lover is doing. Well, Laurie, I didn't mean to do that. Sorry. You'll be out in 5 minutes. I didn't mean to do that. Trying to get rid of task force who comes in here. I can't block her, so I got to put her in timeout. And she's not leaving. This thing is out there. All right. I don't know why task force comes in here. But task force condones attempted murder because it happens to be an opponent. Paul Pelosi was in his underwear because he was in bed fucking asleep at 2 o'clock in the morning, you idiot. Not that it cares. I accidentally put her in timeout. She'll be back in a couple minutes. I don't know how to get somebody out of timeout. I hit the wrong line, and I don't know how to get her out. Sorry about that, Laura. You can still watch. You just can't talk yet. So we'll see you in 5 minutes. I don't know what's going on with the software tonight. I'm very irritated with it. But this is the situation. Timothy Charles Holmseth may cause the murderer of two teenagers to be acquitted. Why is it weird that he was in his underwear? I mean, I don't get you people. I sleep in my underwear. I don't go to bed with my clothes on. Jesus. I have a feeling there's going to be more than one person arrested by the time this is over. Because as I just said, I don't see how one individual is going to control two teenagers. You know, they were killed with a knife. There was no gun found, as far as anybody knows. At least it hasn't come out. I mean, the case is sealed. There's a possibility, but they were killed with a knife. Information came out very early in the investigation, and then eventually the law enforcement put a clamp. All right, tell her I'm sorry. you know, uh, right wing, and I'm not interested in talking about Paul Pelosi. This is not about Paul Pelosi. If you cannot stick to the subject, please go away. I get trolled enough on here. I don't need this bullshit. I know you hate Democrats, so go over to Telegram and talk to them. I mean, honest to Christ, I am so sick of you people. You know, the guy breaks into a house and attempts to murder a guy. I mean, if you can't accept that, then take your politics and go elsewhere. I mean, Jesus Christ. That's what's wrong with this country today. Well, that's where this kind of talk belongs. It certainly doesn't belong here. Because there is no excuse at all for that guy to have broken in that house and took a hammer to his head. I don't care if it's a Democrat or Republican. They do not deserve that. That's attempted murder. That guy's going to go to jail for the rest of his life. And end of story. You know, and this kind of speculation is what people on uh, Telegram talk about. It's not a political channel, right wing. This is the problem. This is what I try to get across to people. Yes, I don't consider myself a liberal. I'm not registered with any political party. But I have made it clear for a long time that I do not talk about politics at all on this channel, be it liberal, be it conservative, be it right wing, left wing, center wing, top wing, bottom wing. No politics. This is a true crime channel. I may talk about politics in the future, but not right now. So now that we got that out of the way, I don't know how the prosecution is going to handle this material the Homeseth sent them. They have to investigate it. They have to look at it and probably start calling all the people that Timothy Homeseth mentioned in there. And I guarantee you they are going to call law enforcement in all these other states because they're going to want to find out just what the hell all this stuff is. Yeah, you will have to agree to disagree because it's, until the investigation is done and the truth comes out, there's no point in talking about it. This is not about Pelosi. This is about two teenagers that were murdered in central Illinois. Yeah, because what's going to happen here is the prosecution is going to have to appoint an investigator to go through all this material. And that's one less investigator that they are going to have to look at other evidence that's out there. We don't know how much evidence is in this case right now. We don't know what it is that all these investigators are going to have to look at. Whether or not there is a second, third, fourth person involved in this very unusual murder. And this is not the end of Tim Homeseth. This is just the beginning. He's going to keep doing this. I would not be the least bit surprised if Homeseth doesn't submit stuff to the defense. Because I think Homestead wants this killer alleged of these two teenagers acquitted. I don't think he gives a flying fuck about these teenagers. I think he gets off on them being murdered and he wants the guy acquitted so he can barge into the case and saying, I know who murdered the kids, and keep going with this and get all the attention he wants. So he and Task Force and PWS can make thousands of dollars off the death of these two children. Because that's all Task Force and Homestead want. They want to make money off of dead children. They want power. They want attention. They don't care. And so the task force can go and celebrate the death of these two children because that's what task force wants. And it shows in the stuff that they put up on their blog. Now, task force knows full well that the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation checked into that image. And they were told by the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation that the image was of an adult, a very much alive adult that worked in the porn industry. And anyone can find that out. It's very easy. It takes about 5 minutes on Google to find it out. Yeah, that's all it's about. Tim Homestead is up to $8,000 for his car. I can't think of how much money he's up for the Donald Trump thing. But I have been told that people who donated to Tim Homestead have reported him to the FBI and to the Federal Trade Commission for wire fraud because he is getting that money under false pretenses. He's lying. He is not one man from President Trump. He has no contact with President Trump. He is not a war correspondent. He's a nothing except a pathological liar. Right wing, I actually agree with you. That was extremely bad judgment on Goddard's part. And I told her that. I don't know why she did that. But it is clearly a picture of an adult. That much is clear. And Randy, if she had handled it differently, there might have been a different outcome. But she screwed herself in going to all these agencies because now she's destroyed her own case. She is in possession of that pornography. She has not turned it over to law enforcement. She retained it. She sends copies to these people. And I have spoken to law enforcement. They said if somebody has something on their device, they take the device to their local agency, whether it be the FBI, state police, county sheriff, whatever, and let them examine the device. You don't keep it on your device. Law enforcement will take it down. But, well, she basically, she dismissed it. She said, this is the problem with Alex. She does stuff because, and she doesn't care what people think. I disagree with her for doing it. I wish she hadn't done it because she's caused a lot of damage. But it's over with. It's done. She has to face the consequences of what she did. And She basically just gave him a Christmas present and they're running with it. They are calling it child porn, which it is not. But the fact is that Alex sent the device. I don't care if she's had enough. I don't care what her reasoning was. It was a mistake. But she bears the responsibility for it. It's her decision, her responsibility. She's going to have to go with it. Yes, it is. Um, right wing. Um, Randy Erickson went to one of Levi's relatives, I believe it was an aunt, wanting information about Levi, and told the aunt that Levi was a pedophile and child trafficker. And that is targeted harassment, it's stalking, and she could have been charged with a crime. Um, and I don't know what's become of that. I don't know where Levi's going to go with that one. But this is the situation as it stands. Timmy and Randy have taken an image, implied that it is child porn when it is not. Yeah, it was his aunt, Lori. Basically, they have given false information to law enforcement. And I don't know what this snuff film is. It might be. He's. I don't know if he's scared about his safety, but he is concerned about his safety. But he has a relative with the Tennessee State Police, and they are investigating. And I believe that relative has given him advice on what to do about the situation. I don't know for sure. Well, it is filing a false report. And it's also obstruction of justice because they are interfering with an active investigation. Excuse me, folks. Sorry about that. Because what is going on here is they are interfering by giving all this information to the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation and to Ohio, now to the state of Illinois. Hi, Sarah. Welcome. They are obstructing this case because since we are in an early stage here of a murder investigation, that is going to cause a huge amount of damage. No, she has not. Now, I have a rather unique situation here. The trailer park that I live in is on private property. The county does not maintain this property. The road in here is not maintained by Orange County. It's a private road. And there's a big sign up when you come into the entrance to this facility. No trespassing. Residents only. No soliciting. Visitors must check with the front office. And I have given management pictures of Tim Holmseth and Randy Erickson, along with a description of the vehicles that they own. And I have notified my local law enforcement that I have a no trespass request for these two individuals. And so what will happen is if they come anywhere near my property, they will be arrested on the spot. Randy has been made aware that she is not allowed anywhere near my house. And I have cameras all over the house. And so she comes here, I will file a formal complaint with law enforcement and she will be arrested for felony stalking. I've been told this by the county sheriff that I've talked to. So, and I believe in the Second Amendment, Florida has a stand your ground. Florida also has castle doctrine. So there's always that. Well, in the past, Laurie, I think the individual cases are in such a position that their shenanigans don't matter. That they can uh, get away with it. But not this time. This is an active murder investigation. Um, they just arrested this guy. They're looking for more evidence. And now that this has been submitted to the Illinois State Police, they have to investigate it. They don't have a choice. And this can wind up in the hands of the defense counsel when this case goes to trial. Now, as far as the trial with Randy Erickson and Tim Homestead, it is mid November, supposed to be around the 13th or the 17th. I'm not sure which. I would have to check the court calendar and see. Um, Levi posted about it, um, and him and I talked about it. And what he apparently did, Levi showed his aunt a current picture of Randy Erickson, and his aunt identified her as the woman that came to our house. The hearing is supposed to be in uh, November, and it's a judgment hearing. Um, Randy lost the case, and now I guess the judge has to set the amount of damages and other things in that phase of the trial. Uh, I believe that Randy is from Minnesota. I don't hear anything about her being from Indiana. Um, okay, I wasn't aware that Timmy had been there as well. Yes, both Randy and Tim Homestead have to be in court. This is a trial. This is not a hearing. It's not an arraignment. This is the actual trial for the charges against them. They have been given a subpoena to appear in court. And if they do not appear in court, it's anything from a finding of guilt in absentia to contempt of court, and a warrant for their arrest will be issued. And they will not show. I would be surprised at ever loving hell if they showed up. Uh, the prevailing opinion is yes. Uh, there has been someone that has stated that Timmy and Randy wanted to have David Lester Straight perform a sovereign citizen ceremony. And David Straight said if they filled out a form, that Randy wouldn't be charged with bigamy for marrying Tim Homestead. And apparently, according to the source, Randy got mad because David Lester Straight was going to charge them for the ceremony and this piece of paper that they wanted uh, in order to make their quote unquote marriage legal. And they have not commented at all. They have not denied it. They have not confirmed it. They simply have not talked about it. So you can read into that what you want. But it is alleged that her husband has terminal cancer, and they're just waiting him out. Uh, and that seems to be the prevailing opinion is that they are waiting for him to go because of life insurance policy, inheriting the estate, and so on. And I wouldn't put it past them. It's unconfirmed rumor from anonymous sources, but there was a time when Randy Erickson was calling herself Randy Holmseth. Uh, there has been no information on what the husband has said about this. Uh, Again, you have to understand that this is unproven right now. It's rumor. It's plausible, but it's a rumor. And but the amazing thing is there was a time when law enforcement went to her residence because it was reported that Tim Holmseth was there, and the husband said he had not seen Holmseth or his wife in over a year. And this was way back when. So, oh, the unwelcome fake task force is back. He's celebrating the possibility of defending a murderer task force. Yeah, there is a statement that was given to law enforcement. It's a matter of public record. You can go and get it. Um, and, another thing while task force is here, Tim Holmes said way back when the subpoenas were coming out for Randy and him to appear in the Ohio court that Randy doesn't live at that address anymore. But guess what? 2 weeks ago, Randy Erickson sent stuff to the state of Ohio. And guess what? The address has Randy's house in Elk River, Minnesota. Now, if she does not live at the house, why is she having mail sent there? The state of Ohio sent her a letter to that house. Yeah, task force goes where she's not invited. She knows she's not welcome here. She was kicked out of the room, so everything goes away. Task force is not welcome here. And we're not sure who it is that's running task force account. Because if you go over to the Telegram channel run by I can't remember, IBT or whatever she calls herself, they have said the task force is a fake. That it's not it's not Randy. So we don't know who it is. Well, she's supposed to be a real estate broker. Randy's in her 60s. She is supposed to be a licensed real estate broker. Upside down world. Hello there. Welcome to the chat. It's been an interesting night. But the way things look right now is Timothy is not going to be very popular in Delphi, Indiana, especially when the family of the two murdered girls learn that he has stuck his nose into the case and may wind up getting the murderer of their children acquitted. Because the defense is going to love that. They are going to love the fact that um, this letter was sent to them. Uh, Lori, John Taylor had called law enforcement out there. Not sure which one, because this is another story. Uh, and told them about Tim Homestead. But I don't think this had to do with the Delphi case. This is something else. But Tim Homestead made a video, or somebody made a recording and compared it to the bridge guy and claims that it is John Taylor. And so, but, well, this is, I don't blame you for being pissed because this is exactly what's happened. We are at the beginning stages of a murder investigation in preparation for trial. They said in the press conference that the investigation is ongoing. They have not concluded this case. There may be other suspects out there. There may be other evidence out there that they're looking for. And so they've got a staff of investigators going over all this stuff, plus any tips that come in. Now they get hit with an encyclopedia sized bunch of crap that they cannot throw in the wastebasket. They have to examine it because it's a long shot that this might be valid evidence. This might be a good lead. So they have to examine it. Plus, if they find it's no good, they can't throw it away. They can't say, this is crap. Boom. It has to remain a matter of public record. And when it comes time to go to trial, this material has to be handed over to the defense counsel. It's reciprocal discovery. No matter how ridiculous it is, it's got to be turned over to the defense. Now, if people who studied it closely remember the Casey Anthony case, there was some weird crap that was turned in to the prosecution. Psychics, there were sightings of Kelly up in Georgia, all kinds of garbage. And it was put in the discovery, and it was among the 1,500 plus pages of discovery that was handed out by the Orange County Court before the case went to trial. And I can guarantee you that Jose Baez probably went through all of it to see if he could come up with something to get Casey off. In the end, he didn't use any of it because Orange County failed. But, to sit there and send this stuff to an active investigation is wrong. And this is not going to help the prosecution. It's going to help the defense if the defense decides to use this material. Because all the defense has to do is create reasonable doubt, convince one juror that this man may not be guilty of this crime, and he walks. At a minimum, we have a mistrial, and they have to do the whole thing all over again. And all right, check something out here. Okay, just check. Indiana has the death penalty. Now, it has not been said whether or not the state of Indiana is going to seek the death penalty. Well, we have what is possibly a case of first degree murder with aggravating circumstance that the children may have been tortured, they were abused at a minimum, and we don't know the facts of the case other than early on before they put a clamp on information that there was opposing of the two children. And so the defense is going to try to mitigate what is finally dealt to his client. If the state attempts to seek the death penalty, he may use Tim Holmseth's evidence to prevent this man from getting the death penalty. If he's charged with two cases of first degree murder, the defense may try for manslaughter or an outright acquittal. This is the danger that Tim Holmseth has created, that his actions may prevent the result that the parents of these two teenagers want. The snuff film by Monty was made a long, long time ago, and it's not really a snuff film. It's in poor taste. I don't particularly like it, but the woman in the film was an adult. She was not a child, and it's just that Timmy is pissed off at Monty because he came to the aid of Kim Picasio. That's why Tim is going after us, meaning me, Alex, Levi, Monty, John, and others, because we support Kim Picasio. That's the only reason. It's not to solve any crime. It's vindictiveness. It's getting even. And yes, it was a grown adult upside down because Monty provided the name of the woman and her age, and I confirmed it. The woman was an adult. She was in her 30s, I think, when she made the damn thing. And she does a lot of these independent movies. So it's just it's an exaggeration. It's like this image that's out there. They take the image and they lie about it. Now I wish the image hadn't been sent. It's bad judgment, but what's done is done. But it's not a child, it's an adult. And I think it's either Korean or Vietnamese woman who's in her 20s that is in that shot. And TBI found that out. Yeah, I was talking about that, Laurie. They claim that the bridge guy sounds like Fireman John. And it's not true. Now, if they submit that to Indiana State Police got to investigate it. And now put it through law enforcement grade, voice analysis, and they'll say, oh, this ain't him. We've already got the alleged voice of the bridge guy. I guarantee it. They probably interviewed him, and they can take all they need is how do you plead? Not guilty. All they got to do is run that through a voice analysis, and they got him. They got a video of him talking, and that can be run through voice analysis, forensic voice analysis provided to law enforcement, and bang, they got it. But, you know, they don't care about any child. They don't care about the two teenagers in Indiana. They don't care about Summer Wells. They don't care about John Benet Ramsey or any of these children. All they care about is making themselves look important. And they're going to keep doing it. They're doing it with the E-Clause situation. They're doing it with Cynthia Abzug and others. And they got people that are crawling all over themselves to be on the top of the cult pyramid, to be close to Timmy, to be close to the top heap, so to speak. And they're being fooled. They're a bunch of lemmings that uh, just believe everything, that don't have a brain to think on their own, apparently. And, that's just the way it is. Well, I'm just checking something for the heck of it here. Uh, but, oh, upside down, when is the Ohio trial of Randy and Tim? I couldn't remember the exact date. Oh, how about I hit the right button here? Okay, nothing since the 13th of October. And that's the address of the medical examiner in Leesburg. So there's nothing going on. Um, oh, that's going to be a busy week because there's something coming up on the 14th. Um, but anyway, all right, I've hit my hour that I was going to be on the air here. I just wanted to get this off my chest. But, it is basically we're going to have to put up with these two yo-yos um, from here on out. They're going to keep putting this nonsense up here and see what happens. I am going to be real curious to find out what this snuff film is. Evidence regarding possible snuff film created of the Delphi double murder. Now, as far as I know, there has never been a film of a double murder anywhere. And all of a sudden, Holmseth comes up with this. So I'd be real curious if this film is ever released. He won't release it. I'd be surprised if he did. But time will tell. But I am going to be in contact with the Indiana State Police sometime tomorrow, as I am going to find out, number one, if they have received this information. And I'm also going to tell them who exactly Homeseth is, and if they want me to fly up to Indiana and talk to them, let me know, and I'll be up there. Because that's a nice thing about being on Social Security. I can go anywhere I want, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I don't have anything to tie me down. I will just leave on a jet plane, go up to Indiana, and I'll talk to the ISP. And I'll bring along a suitcase full of stuff that they can check out about Mr. Homestead. So keep it up, Mr. Homestead. You just keep sending that shit up there to Indiana and make it so they are forced to have me up there in Indiana, and I will let them know exactly who you are. I will give them everything from Lawrence Hoff right up to today, so that they know who they're dealing with. I'm pretty sure they are going to want to see the evidence out of Thief River Falls, Minnesota. I'm sure they would like to see the stuff out of East Grand Forks, Minnesota, out of North Dakota, out of Plum City, all kinds of evidence that I think that law enforcement in Indiana would just love to go through. And I'm pretty sure the East Grand Forks Police Department might want to weigh in, and the National Weather Service may want to chime in. I mean, there's all kinds of people that would just love to talk about Tim Holsack. Sharpton is Rendi. It's not Randall. But we'll see. Anyway, that's all, folks. I had intended to be on for a half an hour, and this kind of bled on. And we'll see what happens on Telegram and then BitChute and so on. I guarantee you that they're going to rake me over the coals again because that's all they know how to do. You know, they're going to have a field day on the hell is this?
And so they claimed that not only did they want more information about Mike Hassan, but they also
Timmy's taking credit for something over on BitChute. I have no idea what that is. Gotta solve a case of a missing child in Florida. Right. Anyhow, thank you folks for tuning in. Uh, I'm gonna keep following this crap, find out what the hell's going on, and I may be streaming live from Delphi, Indiana in a week or two. Who knows? See what happens, and it's gonna all be courtesy of Mr. Homestead, because if I have to go to Delphi, Indiana has to pick up my expenses. I cannot be forced to go to Indiana on my own dime. So they either have my local authorities interview me or they ship me up to Indiana. So we'll see what happens. Yeah, it would be nice. Upside down. We'll have to wait and see. Anyway, please like, subscribe, hit that notification button, and share. And have a good one. See you again. Oh, this thing is stuck. Oh.